Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel and to another video. This quick little video today is going to be all about the trip that I went on in July, August. I went to the US and Canada. I'm going to talk about everything that I spent on the trip, the tour that I did, the prices of everything. I'm going to be talking in Australian dollars. Australian dollars. Our Australian dollar is quite weak. I'm going to convert the lump sums into American and Canadian because I know I have a lot of US and Canadian subscribers, so it'll help you break this down. But yeah, I went away for 3 weeks in total. I left on a Saturday and arrived back on a Saturday. There was a lot of travel within all of this, so without further ado, let's get into it. So the tour that I did was a Contiki tour. Contiki, as my friend that I met on the Contiki, Sarah said, is a New Zealand company. I thought it was an Australian, but Contiki, she said, is a Maori word, so I don't know, like I'm gonna trust her that she says it's a New Zealand company, but it is a very generic, predictable Aussie thing to do is when you finish school, you go on a Contiki tour in Europe and you go crazy because you've just turned 18. That is a very stereotypical thing to do. I didn't do that myself. I did a 5-day Contiki in 2011 when I was 18 because I was going to the US regardless, just to visit my friend Ollie. And being 18 in the US, really can't do much. But I went on an LA 5-day Contiki, did Vegas for 3 nights, again, silly because I was 18, and then I went and stayed with my friend Ollie for 2 weeks. So that was a nice little month in America in June 2011, showing my age. So yeah, I've only done that Contiki. Other tours that I've done is with a different company called Busabout. I don't believe they even exist anymore. I did a 2-week tour over Eastern Europe and I loved it. I'm still very close with a couple of the girls from that trip. If you guys remember Lisa or Georgia or have stalked me on social media, I met them on this tour. I still have the bus driver on Facebook and it was just a great tour. Loved it. So going into this, I really wanted to go to the US and didn't feel safe enough to go alone because I did want to go to New Orleans. So I wanted a tour that had New Orleans in it. So I found this one, which was the Dallas to Miami Contiki tour, 10 days. I will read you the itinerary. Start in Dallas, Fort Worth. It was just Fort Worth, it wasn't Dallas. There are 2 separate places. So it was Fort Worth that we started in Texas. So it started in Texas and then we go to Memphis for 2 nights, New Orleans for 2 nights, Panama City Beach for 1 night, Orlando for 2 nights, and Miami for 2 nights. And then from there, I flew from Miami to Vancouver and had a week in Vancouver and flew back to Melbourne. So that was my trip. The Dallas to Miami tour, I got, I think $100 or $200 off because I'd done a Contiki before, which is a little bonus there. And I'll just get my converter up for everyone. So for a 10-day tour, it was Australian dollars, $2,992.25, which is $2,732.24 in Canadian, and USD is just over 2,000 US dollars. So yeah, that was the Contiki for the 10 days, 9 nights. And I had a couple days in Fort Worth before the tour started. My 2 nights at the Fairfield Inn and Suites Fort Worth was 405 Australian dollars for 2 nights. And in USD, that was $274.85. So let's do the converter. So that was 369 Canadian dollars for 2 nights. So that is that. So yeah, if you break down the Contiki, let's just do 2009. I'm just going to talk in Australian now for this bit. So I've converted it for you guys and I'm just going to talk about the Contiki, breaking it down in Aussie dollars. So if you take the $2,992.25, divide it by the 9 nights, it's $332 a night. So if you break it down like that, it is not too bad because that is for accommodation and that is for the petrol, the gas money, because we bussed a lot. We were on the bus every second day pretty much for hours and hours and hours. So if you break it down to a night of accommodation and cost of getting there, that's not too bad. It sounds a lot, and then you break it down like that, you're like, it's not too bad. So it was bus, no plane travel, it was all bus. So let's break down the flights. So I did a bunch of flights. My flights included Melbourne to LA, LA to Dallas, Miami to Vancouver, Vancouver, LA, LA, Melbourne. Lots of flights. So the total for my flights, I'm gonna get my converter. Total cost of my flights was $2,944.65. So 2,944.25 on my converter app. That is $2,688.41 Canadian USD and $1,991.78 USD. So the $2,944.65, I will break that down. So the flight from the big flight, so Melbourne, LA, LA, Dallas, LA, Melbourne, those was $2,254.30. And then after that, I bought flights with Air Canada from Miami to Vancouver and then Vancouver to LA. Miami to Vancouver in Aussie dollars was $467.95, and the flight from Vancouver to LA was $222.40. So altogether just under $3,000 for both the Contiki and the flights. That's a lot. And then the spending. So I took a Latitude credit card, which was recommended by my housemate. So she used this in the US last year. And I was trying to look for a credit card that wouldn't charge me conversion fees. So this, wherever you are around the world, if you use the Latitude card, it converts it to your home currency. So it wasn't cheap anywhere I went. When I ate in Texas, when I ate in Memphis, everywhere that I ate, meals were around $30. And that was 30 US. So it wasn't like the food was any cheaper than Melbourne, because if you can go out for brunch here, brunch and a coffee, 30 bucks. So if you're talking in the US, you're getting, a big salad, fries, drink, not even an alcoholic drink, just a Coke or Sprite or something. Most meals were around $30 with like a meal and a drink if you're out at a restaurant. Buying snacks, not that cheap either. I'm not a real big snacker. So every place that we stayed, including the one that I stayed for 2 nights in Fort Worth and the accommodation that we stayed with the Contiki, breakfast was included. So you best believe I ate, even if it was terrible, which most of them were, unfortunately. I'm not a big pancake girl. You best believe I was eating like 8, 9 pancakes. Like I was eating so much food in the morning because I was like, I'll save money later on, and I would see if there was, apples or whatever fruit, and if there were muffins, I would try and get snacks. I brought over a few granola bars, muesli bars from Melbourne in my suitcase. I brought maybe 6 bars, and I didn't really eat on the bus. It was just so hot. I think, not that it's a good thing, but with the heat, I just didn't really want to eat that much at all. Like I wasn't eating like big portions that I usually do, and I was thinking about cost. So I was like, okay, well, we're here, we have to eat lunch. What can I buy? So I was usually having like salads or wraps, or, for dinner, so many places that we went, like Memphis, New Orleans, Miami, it's a lot of fried food. I tried to get as much as I could, a bit of a variety and seafood and bits and bobs, but yeah, roughly $30, $40 Australian. So converting that, if a meal like US was $35, just say, that's 50 Australian dollars. So every meal, every night I ate out. We had no cooking facilities. We ate out every single night, had takeaway, whatever. It was around 50 Australian dollars just for one meal. So it's very expensive in the US. You're not going to the US for a budget cheap holiday, even, the places that I went where it's not like New York or LA, but it's very expensive. So here we go. The total spending, this is not just meals, this is everything. And apart from, okay, I'll break down the spending. Apart from food, I spent money on experiences with Contiki. So none of that was prepaid, so I had to pay all of that. So that was about $300-400 US for the experiences that I had across the 10 days. So it was food, experiences, and tourist stuff, like a t-shirt or magnets. Magnets were around $9, $10 for a magnet in US. Like what? I thought magnets were gonna be like $3-4. No, cost of living crisis everywhere, everything is expensive. So I bought, you know, a magnet at each place. Apart from that, I didn't buy anything but food the whole time. So I really didn't spend anything. I didn't buy any clothing, I didn't go out. I didn't get drunk the whole time I was there, so I didn't really spend it on alcohol. The spending just for the US part of the trip was $2,162.42. So that was just the spending in the US for 10 days. Well, I guess 11 days of the transit and everything. So that wasn't Vancouver. So that's a lot of money for 10 days. Let's break that down over 10 days. That's so much money. So $2,162.42 divide, just say 11. 12, because I was there for 12 days. That's $180 a day. Crazy. So obviously I bought a Universal Studios ticket that was around, you know, $200 US, the experiences. So it's not just on food, but that was, yeah, that's a lot of money. So that's Australian dollars, the $2,000 amount. So yeah, that was all the US part of things and what I spent. In Canada, I had my Canadian debit card still up and running. I have now closed it and moved all the money back. So I got my hair done, I got my hair cut. It's not looking amazing because I can't style, but I got my hair done. So it was around $300, which was like an quote unquote unnecessary purchase, but I really wanted to see Kayla and get my hair done. So I got it dyed, cut. So that was around, yeah, $300-ish. And then I just went out for meals. I was staying with my friend Matt, so that was free. I did pay him some money, which I won't disclose, but I paid him some money towards the camping trip that we did, the kayaking, but the rest was just on food. And I bought some, what did I buy? I bought some food to take back with me, like, and I bought alcohol. So yeah, just for the week in Canada, it was $1,120, and that is Australian. So $1,120 is just over 1,000 Canadian, and that was for a week, and $757 US. So altogether, it's so much. It's so much more than I thought. I think because I bought the flight so long ago, I just didn't even think about it. And the Contiki I bought in May. So I bought the flights and the Contiki around May and June, and then I just paid off the credit card. So it was just more like the spending money that I was aware of, but altogether it's a lot. So in total, give or take $100 here and there, if I haven't budgeted this properly or haven't calculated it properly, because I did my best. Because the Canadian one's a bit rocky because I paid cash for my hair and it's just a rough estimate. So estimated cost for the whole trip, flights, spending, food, accommodation, everything, $9,224.30 Australian. So 9224.30, that is $6,240 US for 3 weeks of this trip. And to convert that to Canadian is $8,422.76. So my cost by 3 weeks was nearly $10,000, and I cannot believe it. I knew it'd be expensive, but the thing that really got me was the food, because I didn't buy anything apart from a few key rings and magnets. Like, I had already paid for the tour. So sorry, my camera died, so I'm not sure what I was up to, but I think I was wrapping up the video anyway. To put into some context, I've got my Latitude app up here. I'm just gonna run you through some meals and just give you some insights. So first night I was in Fort Worth, my dinner was 58.88 Australian dollars. Riskies was another place in Fort Worth the second night. $66 Australian was my dinner. We got fast food because it was the only option for lunch. Driving on the Monday for lunch, so it was $18 at Whataburger for just like a burger and fries and a drink. It's all Australian dollars, by the way. What else? Oh yeah, Mumbo's, which is a place we went in New Orleans, $48.28 for dinner. The Napoleon was the next night, $54 Australian for a dinner. $62 for dinner in Panama City Beach. Five Guys was $32 and that was just burger, fries and a drink. Oh, here we go. The experiences that I bought with Contiki were $447 Australian, and the Universal ticket Australian was $335 for 2 parks for 1 day. Meals like at the park, lunch and dinner were $28 Australian, $23 Australian, which wasn't too bad actually. Like, I was really surprised. Just some tourist items at a Miami shop. I bought key rings. I got a cap for Tori to say thank you. I got a t-shirt for myself. It was around 40 American dollars, 45 American dollars. It was $80. $80 Australian. Another meal, the last meal at Miami, I got 2 drinks, like 2 margaritas and a main meal, $87.73. Because in Miami, they already have a tip included, like a 25% tip or something crazy. So, oh yeah, and all of this is with tips included, by the way. So you tip in America, of course, like it's your discretion, but I tend to tip if it's not great service, 15%. If it's really good, 18 to 20%. I don't ever tip 25% because she's not rich, I'm sorry. Panda Express at LAX was 22 Australian dollars. Bargain. So that was that. Very expensive, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go. Just know that you can do it probably more cheaply. Obviously, I did a tour that was expensive, but you can get better flight deals. You can look for deals. I did a bunch of different flights. It wasn't just Melbourne, LA, LA, Melbourne. Like, it wasn't an easy flight. I did a whole bunch of different flights. So yeah, hopefully this was interesting. If you have any questions, if you have any queries about any of the numbers that I said, if you have a specific, like, what did this cost you? Please pop it down in the comments. I love making these types of budget financy videos, and I'm very open. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. So if you wanna ask me anything about the trip, money, whatever experience, just let me know and I'll make another video. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this little tiny video about my expenses on my trip. And yeah, thank you guys again so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!
Forget your feelings, show me you want it. You've been a fan now, ain't no more talking. Need you to back it up.